it's Polly, and today I'm going to be talking about my sustained investigation that I made in my senior year of high school. What a sustained investigation is, the way I can explain it simply, is you take a topic, something you want to research, but instead of doing writing research, you make a series of artwork based on what you feel about it or your thoughts on it. It's basically taking an idea and drawing it out. It doesn't have to be in steps, it could also just be a series that just shows the whole thing. So anyway, enough about the introduction. It's time for me to show you my pieces. So this is the first piece, and the stage in this one is bargaining or bargaining, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Most of these pieces are self-portraits because I don't like to draw people from the internet. I like to have real life models, and I didn't feel like drawing my parents because you know they're old, so I only drew myself and my brother. This one, she is, or I should say myself, but I'm going to say she to reference to the drawing. So in this instance, let's say someone passed away and she is hoping, she's praying that the person is still alive. It's not true, they'll be back. That's basically the emotions that I wanted to give off here. Another thing that you'll see throughout the theme in these pieces is I'm going to use color. My teacher actually told me that I can use poses and facial expressions to show my emotions through the piece, but I can also use color. So the background is black and I have a blue outline around it, and it's not necessarily showing sadness, but I just wanted to show a sense of hopelessness and just it radiating off the character, or myself in this case. So this is my second piece that I made. The stage is anger and I call it crushed. I wasn't really sure how to express anger without using a face, because usually when you see an angry face you just know that's anger. And so I tried to think of another way to show it, and I just thought, why not show somebody crushing something? That's really it. And I also just kind of cheated out of a background. I just used the color red because it's the most bold color that I could use for anger. So this one isn't really my favorite. I do like the way I colored the can and such, but I just feel like it was kind of a cheap piece compared to everything else. So this is my third piece, aka my least favorite piece, and I call it distanced. And this stage is denial. So when you're in denial, you're basically feeling like you don't want to deal with it, you're trying to avoid it, and this is what this piece is basically trying to show. The reason why I don't like it is because I just don't like the drawing itself. I mean, the meaning behind it is good. It shows the word, it explains it without words, so that's cool, but I just don't like the drawing itself. And if I glance down, it's because I have it on my screen here, so I don't have to get it from my memory, because this was last year and I don't really remember most of it, so and yeah, I don't really like this one because of the drawing. I don't really like the way I did the hands, because I was experimenting with a new way to use color pencils, because this is only my second time doing a full portfolio with color pencils, and so I developed my own style throughout, and it does get better, but I do like it. So this is my next piece, also known as my personal favorite, because I just love the way it came out. The idea came out so well, and yeah, I call this one Only One. And I don't mean only one as in it's the only one. I mean you can only pick one. Only one. And I just want to clarify that because there are two different meanings. So this stage is bargaining, and the skull represents death and the flower represents life. That's basically it. And so when someone passes away, sometimes you will feel hopeless and you'll think, no, this can't be true, this can't be right, something's not right here. And someone will literally go into denial like that, but they'll also be bargaining at the same time, like, they'll be back, this isn't true, they'll be back, you know, they'll just keep going through those emotions. And so for this piece, the reason why I have the skull and the flower, your mind is trying to make a choice. Are they really dead or are they alive? This is my next piece, and this stage is also bargaining, and I call it Last Chance. This one, I'm not really sure where this idea came from, other than there used to be these games that kids would play where they pick a flower and they're like, she loves me not, she loves me, and they're basically trying to determine do they love them or not. So when someone passes away, or just really anything, you will try to determine, is this real? Am I dreaming? Because sometimes in cartoons, when something just feels so unreal and traumatizing, they'll think, no, this is not right. This is just a dream. So for this one, I wanted to represent someone actually, going through those feelings like, is this really true? Am I dreaming? Is this alive? Is this reality? And that's why the person is picking the flowers. And that's what I wanted to show for this piece. I really love this one because of the way I colored the leaves. And they just look so gnarly and eerie. They don't really look like real leaves. But yeah, I really like this one. So as I also stated earlier, I used myself and my brother as models for these pieces so that they're all not self-portraits because I wanted to have some type of variety with the people. So this picture is a drawing of my brother and I used him as a model. I asked him, can you please come outside so I could take pictures of you for my pieces, please? And thankfully he obliged. And so this one is the stage of acceptance. It's very rainbowy, it's very happy feeling, everything's good. And for this one, I wanted to show somebody finally just living in the moment. They're accepting what their life is. They're accepting reality. Everything's not entirely cheerful, but it's not terrible. Because another thing that my teacher really liked, a thing that I did, is how I colored the sadness, the anger, all those bad emotions was literally floating and fading away off of his body. And she really loved that thing that I did. That was kind of a last touch that I did because I was like, I want to show someone accepting it, but I want to show what they're accepting. It's not like, get away from me. They're just relaxing and they're letting it, I don't really know how to, I'm not really an actor, I can't really show it, but just all of that radiating off of them. And also, I just called this piece Acceptance because there's nothing really else I could call it. So these next few pieces are ones that I really, really like. And this is when I started to get a better feel of the color pencils because at this point, I think I've been coloring these pieces over a span of 2 to 3 weeks. So in that short time, I was getting used to the color pencils and I was developing my own style of coloring skin. I really only used brown, peach, and purple and blue. And the reason why I chose blue and purple as the colors of the skin is because I wanted to show a sense of death. I wanted to show some type of body that looks lifeless. And usually when you see an alive and healthy body, it's red, it's warm, it's orange, it's bright. But for my pieces, I wanted to show a sense of dread. The more I talk about this, the more I'm realizing how dark this theme was. I didn't realize I would have to talk about death so constantly, but here we are. So this one I call Vexation, and I don't quite remember what the word vexation means, but I'm guessing it means something bad. I don't know, I just want it to sound cool. And also this is the stage of denial. I really like this piece because I did the facial expression and the hand. For this one, you can really look up close to the arms and the hands. You can really see how I incorporated those blues and purples to really show a body that's really going through it. I also like the way I did the red around it because I did use red earlier for the piece that shows anger, but this one is more like it looks more internal. For the other piece, it's just red on the background, but this one feels like it's just floating off the body. More like the first one with how I did the blue. This one with the red just looks like it's inside of them, like you're inside of their head right now. I also really like the shirt too, but that's not really relevant right now, but I just like the way I colored it, This is my next piece. It's called Consumed. This is the stage of depression. I really like this one too. I really like most of my pieces that are up close to the face and the arms, just because it shows more. Because something my teacher told me was, yeah, colors can represent emotions, poses can show emotion too, but the face itself shows a lot, especially the eyes. So I took that in and I've been using it throughout all my pieces. Sometimes I'll just use the hands, sometimes I'll use objects, but at the end of the day, the face is what really shows all the emotions, right? So this one, she is cowering away, cowardly, I would say maybe. Or maybe cowardly is too deep of a word. but really she's just sad, and you can see it in her face. You don't really see anger, you don't see her eyebrows all furrowed like this, you don't see a smile, you don't. And another thing is, I don't put shine in the eyes. I don't add that to these pieces because it just shows too much, you know. When you have a drawing and you're drawing a character and you have no light in their eyes, they just automatically look gone. They're just dazed out. So I wanted to have that same effect on my pieces, so I didn't draw any highlights. And I don't really like the colors that I chose for the background. I should have used either blue or green, but I don't like the fact that I used both because the background looks very bright and vibrant compared to the background. And I guess it is a good choice of contrast, but in the context of what the piece is about, I don't really like the colors. This is my next piece, and it is another piece of my brother. And like I said a few minutes ago, I really love up-close drawings. Anybody who does like up-close face drawings, I just love it so much. I just love looking at the details and how somebody paints a face. Because you could paint a face any type of way and it'll still look like a face. Because our brains automatically just see random shapes as a face, and I think it's just so cool. And I also drew my brother in happy pictures, as you could tell, because I didn't want to draw him sad or anything. I really like this piece because it really shows happiness. You can see he's smiling and he's smelling a flower. I wasn't really sure what to do with the background, but eventually I came up with a simple, cute idea. So what I did for the background of this one is I used a little rainbow in the corner to show that the happiness is coming inward, it's fading in, and the blue side represents the sadness, the hurt, the anger, all of those emotions, and the black line is the little gap between them. So I wanted to show that the rainbow is slowly fading in and they're taking over the happiness, basically showing that the happiness is coming in, the sadness is gone, and that's what I wanted that little thing in the background to represent. And I also made the flower orange simply because orange is a happy color. So I keep saying that these are my favorites, but honestly I love all of them, even my least favorite one. I really like all of them because it shows my improvement in color pencil and as an artist in general, and how I can get so many meanings into one piece of paper. And you know the meme that goes, really cool how artists could take a blank sheet of paper and turn it into something like this? That's basically how I feel about this, and I just really love all these pieces. For this next one, this is Denial as well, and it also shows somebody hiding. And if you can really see the trend here is I'm using the same stage and the same words obviously, but they're showed in different ways because I want to show that everybody could feel anger in different ways. Maybe you scream in your pillow, or you punch a wall. Don't punch a wall. Or you just scream, you yell, you just something that shows anger. So if you want to avoid something, you'd probably cover your ears so you can't hear them, or turn away so you don't look at them. Or you just, you know, little things like that can show that you're trying to avoid something. So for this piece, I call it Hidden, and it clearly shows myself, or the girl in the drawing. She is hiding behind a wall, and the wall looks very dark, and it kind of looks like a tree, and I guess you could say it's a tree, but it was more meant to just look like a wooden wall or something, not really a tree, but trees are wood. So you can either look at it as a wooden wall or a tree, it doesn't really matter. That's really supposed to show the darkness on the other side. And you notice behind her, like I said earlier for my other piece, I didn't like that I used blue and green because it looked too happy. So I decided to use that in this piece because I did like the colors combination. So for this one, I have the blue and the greenish and the yellows in the background to show that there's happiness behind her. And she doesn't want to leave that because the darkness is the outside world and the happiness is behind her. She doesn't want to leave, so that's why she's hiding behind that door, because she doesn't want to go out there. That could also represent grief, as in you don't want to accept that the person's gone, or you just don't want to accept that grief. Maybe you lost a job, maybe you're in debt, something like that. And so she'd rather stay in her comfort zone. That's a simple way to put it. She wants to stay in her comfort zone. So the word anger. When you hear the word anger, you probably think of someone yelling or screaming or breaking something. So for this one, I just wanted to show anger. And by this point, I was kind of running out of time to think of more unique ideas and what to draw. So I kind of just did this little simple idea of just someone screaming, showing anger. And this time, if you didn't notice, in my other pieces, I used blues and purples to color the skin. But this time I used red because I really wanted to show that red. And I felt that if I used the blues and the purples on an angry person, it wouldn't fit right. So I decided to use the undertone as red instead. And that rhymed. And I really like how the red turned out on this one because it really shows that the person is boiling. It's like there's blood literally boiling in them. I also really wanted to exaggerate the little wrinkles on the nose because when someone's really angry, you can really see the little folds here, and I wanted to show that. Because if you pretend to scream, you'll usually be like, and you can't really see it, but unless you're like, you could really, and I look so goofy doing that, but you get the picture, literally, picture's right there. But, yeah. And I don't have a name for the rest of these pieces because these weren't in the art shows that my teacher was preparing us for. So these are just the other ones for my sustained investigation, but they weren't in art shows, so that's why they don't have a title. So this was another piece that I was kind of running out of time to think of ideas, but I still really love the outcome in the end. This stage is depression, and you can kind of see that the person is more blue in this case because in my other pieces I used red and I used more purple than blue, but this one I used more blue than purple because, like I said earlier, you can use blue in the background too to kind of give off that sad aura, that depressive aura. I really love how the skin turned out because it really looks bruised. It looks like a bruised, hurt body that's been through some trauma or just really something emotional. And I also put a blindfold around the mouth to try to show that the person is being silenced. And I won't speak on everyone, but I have felt depression before, and I know the feeling of you feel like there's no help and you're just stuck. You don't know what to say. You don't even know how to express your feelings. So it just feels like you're being trapped. And that's why I put the blindfold around the mouth. And another detail that I put is the hand is trying to take it off. So it's like they're fighting against it. They don't want to feel this way, but they're feeling this way and they're trying to fight it. So this is my next piece, and this stage is also depression. Since the stages of grief is only about 5, I think. I don't really remember. And we needed to have 15 pieces, so I would do maybe 2 for each to try to stretch that out a little bit. I really like this one too because it just shows someone who's just sad, or they're pondering, they're thinking, they don't want to speak right now, they're just daydreaming. And some days you can really just feel like you're drained. You don't have any feelings at the moment, or you don't know how to feel, so you're just there. And in my other pieces, I used blue, but they were more of a vibrant blue, like a more neon blue. This one, I wanted to use more of a deep blue to really sink in to the person that you're looking at. I wanted to really show that the person is just sitting in their thoughts. For the other pieces, it looks like the blue is kind of glowing around them. This one, I wanted the black to kind of push in and really push the sadness, the blueness into the character. Also, this isn't relevant like I said before, but I really love the way I colored the shirt because coloring folds and wrinkles and stuff like that isn't my strong suit, so I just really love how the shirts came out in these because I really took time to do the shirt. So this is my last piece, and I do have one more piece, but that was an extra, so I won't include it in this. But this is my last piece for this investigation. And this one has no title, unfortunately, but this one is acceptance. And this one is really nice because it touches on a topic where people want to live such great, happy lives. They just want to be satisfied with everything. They don't want to be sad. They don't want to be angry. They don't want to be nothing. But that's just very unrealistic because you can be the happiest person in the world, but that doesn't mean you don't get sad either. So for this one, I wanted to show that, yeah, the world around you is dark and gray and blue sometimes, but there's always going to be that hope that you can reach out for because not everything is black and white. For this one, it's just a hand reaching out, and they're in the darkness, and they're not exactly accepting the darkness, but they're in it. And rather than sulk and stay in the darkness, they're looking for that light. They're reaching out to the light. The whole world isn't going to be covered in the light. There might be a little black spot over there. There might be a little gray spot over there. But majority, there's going to be light somewhere. If you're in that gray spot, you go back into the light. You're in a dark spot, go back into the light. That's what I wanted to show here for acceptance. So this is my last piece. It's an extra one. And for this one, the topic is actually poverty. It's way different than everything else I just covered. This one is poverty. And so for this one, I just wanted to show an empty bowl with a spoon in it sitting on a table. Because if you were to think someone doesn't have money, you would probably think, oh, they don't have money for food, they don't have money for clothes, they don't have money for, they just don't have money. And I know how it feels to not have money or to have very low income. So I just wanted this simple piece to show that. It kind of looks almost dull, but that's kind of the point, because you're just looking at it and you're like, why is the bowl empty? Why isn't there some type of food in it? Why isn't there something else there? It's just a bowl. If I had a bunch of other empty objects, like an empty cup, an empty bowl, you would probably look at it as a still life. If it's just one empty bowl, you'll probably think, why is the bowl empty? And why aren't there any other objects around? You kind of just think more. So I know I mentioned this quite a few times in the video, but the materials I use for these pieces are Prismacolor pencils, and for the oil pastels, I'm not sure what brand they are, but I used oil pastel for the hair and for the backgrounds. And only for the face, the hands and the arms and the shirts and all that, I used color pencil. And for my extra piece, the one with the bowl, I only used oil pastel on that. So those are all my pieces for my sustained investigation, and like I said before, my topic was the stages of grief, and I hope I got my point across, because I am not that great at explaining. Sometimes I do art and I just do it for fun, or I just have an idea and somebody will ask, what inspired you to make it? And I'm like, I don't know. I just drew it because I wanted to, I guess. And if you are interested in me showing my other sustained investigation from junior year of high school, then please leave a comment down below. So last but not least, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing all my pieces. And if you want to see more, please leave a comment down below, leave a like, and please subscribe. I know my posting schedule is very inconsistent. And also, if you have any other art ideas, maybe something you want me to talk about or something else you want to see, just ask and I'll see what I can do. Bye!